So what we're showing you how to do here is a bet called a Placepot. Now the Placepot is a bet where you're actually picking a horse to be placed in each of the first 6 races at a particular meeting. So let's say, for example, we pick Cheltenham. Now I've explained in another video what it is to be placed. For a horse to be placed, if there's a race with less than 5 horses, the horse has to win. If there's a race with between 5 and 7 horses, it has to come first or second. If there's a race of 8 or more horses, then it can come up to third, and there's some larger races where it can come up to fourth. Now what you simply do is all of your horses have to be placed in these races in order for you to get paid. So you will go to the newspaper, and there'll be a number to the left of your horse, and you'll just simply fill in it. For the first race, your horse might be number 4, for the next race it might be number 7, for the race after it might be number 9, and so on. So you fill in the numbers of your horses, and what you'll then do is you'll then pick your unit stake. So this is how much you want to bet on this line, as it's known. And let's say you wanted to have a £1 Placepot. Now the thing is that as I said, every single one of your selections must be placed in order to get a winning bet. And people, I mean, you can't actually work out how much your bet is due to pay, because the Placepot is done on basically a pool of money. So it depends how many people have done a Placepot, how much they have staked, and also it depends on how many of them have successfully got all 6 placed throughout the races. You'll usually see that the more favourites that are placed, then generally the lower the Placepot, certainly in relation to if much bigger prices had won or were placed. But anyway, you can actually, when you're doing a Placepot, if it ends up that you have different races where there are several different horses that you like, then there's a simple way that this is worked out. So in the first race, let's say that in addition to the horse that's number 4, you also like the horse that's number 12. And in the third race, say you also like the horse that's 11 and 15. And say in the fourth race, you like, say it's a huge race with 25 horses, and you like the ones that are number 1, 5, 8 and 22. Now the way that you work out how many lines you have, as I said, with the initial one you only had 1 line, but this means you have an awful lot more options. So for example, in the fourth race, if 5, 8 and 22 aren't placed, then your bet's still alive because number 1 is placed, but that means that a lot of your lines are gone. Now the way to work out how many lines you have here is you look at every race where you have more than 1 selection. So in the first race you have 2 selections, in the third race you have 3 selections, and in the fourth race you have 4 selections. So what you need to do is you multiply 2 by 3 by 4. 2 by 3 is 6, by 4 is 24. That means you have 24 lines, and that's all you're ever going to do. Every race that has more than 1 selection, you'll multiply the number of selections by the other races with the additional selections. So, and as I said again, in this case it's 2 by 3 by 4. If you wanted to add in another one into the 5th race, then you have 2 by 3 by 4 by 2. And that's 2 by 3 is 6, by 4 is 24, by 2 is 48. That means you have 48 lines. Now generally you're not going to want to have a £1 unit stake there, because that would cost you £48. But what you can do is, you might want to have in that case a 20p unit stake, and that bet's going to cost you £9.60 then. So what you would have then is you would have a 20, and I'm just going to write over this, but a 20p unit stake will cost you £9.60, and that's how your Placepot is done. The Quadpot ignores the first 2 races, and it's done basically in the same way. You've got the Quadpot unit just here, and it's done in the same sort of way as the Placepot.